My fiance, he is one of those. He believes in God. He's a Christian. He doesn't believe in evolution. And we will have children one day. And I'm really concerned about this. Like I kind of at first when I discovered that he doesn't believe in evolution, I was just like, oh my gosh, is this relationship going to work? This is craziness. What am I dealing with here? But I love him. We've been together for a long time. He's a wonderful man. But I'm really concerned about when kids do happen. I can't imagine having my kids raised. I certainly will teach them everything that I believe, but how would I deal? I don't know how I'm going to deal with that future. I don't want my kids to be fed lies. I don't want them to be told that they're starting off as evil and all the other nonsense. And I don't know. The only thing I can think to say is the honest thing is, well, your father unfortunately is not properly educated and was brainwashed by his grandparents, who were brainwashed by their parents, who were brainwashed by their parents. And besides that, I'm a little concerned. I mean, it's going to be a very confusing situation for kids to be raised in, you know. And I guess I don't know. I just wondering what your thoughts are, or any suggestions, or anything to help clear up my concerns.
Yeah, aside from being accurate in that he was not properly educated and he was brainwashed, I actually think that approach is probably not conducive to long-term marital harmony.
Right.
So I think it's definitely an issue you guys need to work out before you get married. And I don't know how this is for you, but for me, something like this would be an absolute showstopper. I don't think I could be in a relationship with someone who denied the fact of evolution and who basically, I guess, would want to insist on raising children in a church.
Well, he hasn't been, like, I don't know how insistent he's going to be. I think we need to have this talk definitely.
Yes, because I can tell you that people get very, very picky about these things. I've known lots of people
like,
who.
Oh no, my baby has to go to heaven and all that.
I've known lots of people who are very well educated, who are very pretty much lukewarm about going to church or anything.
That point right there, I'm going to university, and I had a wonderful childhood where I, like, an enriched environment type thing, and unfortunately, he didn't have a very good childhood and ended up being kind of a bad child and a bad teenager, and he's starting community college next semester, and the thing is, he really didn't get a good education, and he's a very intelligent man, and I don't know, I know it's kind of hard to break through the religion thing, but do you maybe have anything you would suggest that I could give to him to read? Maybe I can make an agreement. I'll read one of your nonsense books if you read something like what would be the best thing to give to him, to show him? Yeah,
actually exchanging books is probably not a bad idea.
No, I mean, it would be torture for me, but...
Maybe not. I mean, because if you read a book that he gives you and he discovers how easy it is for you to refute some of the points in the book, that may cause him to start thinking about his beliefs. But, you know, one of the books that I think that if you two read it together, it's probably the least offensive, least likely to provoke some kind of defensive response from him. It's Guy Harrison's book called 50 Reasons for Believing in a God.
50 Reasons People Give for Believing in a God.
Okay, go ahead, I'm sorry.
And the author is Guy Harrison.
Okay.
And he, you know, it's a good book, and you know, if you ask him why he believes, he's very likely to give you one or more of these 50 reasons. And so seeing all of this stuff written out and basically discussed in a fairly non-judgmental way may provoke him to think about what he believes and why.
Silly things like descended from monkeys. I'm like, what? or descended from just things that really don't. You can tell he needs a little bit of education, and maybe it would. I don't know.
So we get a lot of emails from people that are either in your situation or in a situation where one of them has changed their views on religion long after they've been married and long after they've had kids. A couple of things. Since you're in Austin, Guy P. Harrison was actually on Nonprofits. He sent some extra copies of his book. If you want to send me an email and find a time that we can actually meet, I'll give you a copy of the book that he sent, because I'm pretty sure that you're exactly the person he would want me to give it to. Cool. But I will say, this is stuff that I can't stress this enough. I know you love this guy. I'm not trying to break up any relationship. You have to have these conversations before you get married, and you have to be willing to say that if we can't come to agreements about this stuff, that it's best that we don't get married. Because I get,
oh no, your mom's wrong. No, your father's. That's got to be so confusing for a child.
Yes, because
and then
I get.
The kid's going to think that I'm going to hell at one point, and at another point think that I mean, that's my biggest concern.
But I get email from people who are in situations where they didn't have this conversation. They got married, they have kids, and now everything is a disaster and divorce is looming. And what do we do about the kids? If you care about the education that your kids are going to receive, it's fine to work out some kind of equitable arrangement that everybody's happy with, where their dad gets to take them to church on occasion and teach them the things that he believes in, values, and you get to directly compete against those beliefs. But there's no way in a relationship where one person's religious beliefs denies scientific fact and the other parent's beliefs are such that they're teaching the children scientific fact, that you are not going to get into a conflict. What you have to do is start preparing yourself now by either figuring out what's going to happen when those conflicts arise or how to avoid those conflicts in the first place. And
because we've been able to get just fine by deciding, let's just not argue about this. And, and it's been good for a couple of years, but it's going to have, you're right, we're going to have to
kids are going to change that. Extended family is going to change that. There's a lot of issues that have to be addressed. I know plenty of people who are in relationships where one person's a believer and one person's not, and it works.
On that. You do know situations where one is a believer, one is not, and they've come to like an arrangement. How toxic is it for the children? Like, according to your observations, because that's just got to be a mess for the children. Like hearing one side and then the other within the parents. Those are the two biggest people in a child's life.
Right. The thing is that different people take their religion to varying extremes. There are plenty of people who are believers but don't practice or don't let it interfere with their daily life. But if your fiance is somebody who is, I don't know whether he just doesn't accept evolution or if he's vehemently opposed to evolution.
He just goes, oh, no nonsense, because he's read. I don't the name of the books, but some nonsense books that just, the ones that they'll take like a little teeny bit of a claim and throw that down without reading the whole rest of it. Like he comes to me
it's called lying
like that, and it's just I just want to educate.
Then the other book that I'd recommend is probably Why Evolution is True by Jerry Coyne.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of online resources if you don't want to go nuts on the books. There's Talk Origins is probably the best and the only one. But do us a favor.
You have just from families you've observed, how much of a mess have you seen? Like a lot of torment in these children?
Yes.
Yes.
I have yet to see a relationship with a believer and a non-believer with respect to Christianity. I haven't looked at. So a fundamentalist Christian who denies science married to an atheist who adheres to science with kids, I have yet to see that not turn into a nasty situation at some point or another.
Wow.
It may happen. I'm only talking about what I've witnessed and what we get in email, and I'm only mentioning it as a cautionary. I hope you and your fiance find a way to work this out and stay happy and healthy and raise happy, intelligent, healthy kids, if that's the way it goes. And I also hope that if you find out that this isn't going to work out, that you do the smart thing and break things off before they get nasty and ugly. I have no idea which way it goes. I just hope that you both end up happy either way.
Well, I will tell you one thing. I'm not going to poison my children. I will. Thank you.
Sure.
I think he told me what I already kind of knew myself, and I do need to have a talk with him, so I appreciate it very much. And I finally got through to the show. Thank you.
Sure, and drop us an email, tv@atheist-community.org.
I definitely will.
Thanks, Christy.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.